Okay, we're going to do a real quick recap of what you need to know for your test tomorrow. So medians, these are the ones that go from a vertex to a midpoint. So because they're using this word right here, medians, that's how you know it's going from a vertex to a midpoint. So those two things have to be the same. So this is pretty easy. If WL is 4.9, they're looking for ML, which would be the whole thing. So it's got to be 9.8. Yes, because if LW is 4.9, WM is 4.9. So 4.9 and 4.9 together is 9.8. So that's the easy part of medians. And then we got more complicated with medians when we started drawing the multiple medians in one triangle, because then you had this fancy point called the centroid. And let me just reiterate what's going on with the centroid. The centroid breaks each median into two pieces. You have a little piece and you have a big piece. And the deal is the little piece is always half the length of the big piece. Okay, so if I told you the big piece was 10, that means the little piece is 5, right? You could go the other way also. If I told you the little piece was 3, that means the big piece is 6. Okay, so let's see what they have going on here. Oh, and I might as well just say it right now. The other thing that's true about this, yeah, you have the little piece and the big piece, but the other thing, and that sort of throws us for a loop, is when they give you the length of the entire median, the whole thing, if they give you that entire length, what you do with that is you divide that number by 3, and that gives you the length of the little piece. So if I had told you, for example, that the whole thing was 30, you divide it by 3, and now you know the little piece is 10, which means the big piece is 20, which makes sense because 10 plus 20 is 30. So that's what you need to remember. The little piece is half the big piece, but it's 1/3 the length of the entire median. All right, so let's see what they're even giving us in this particular problem. Find RV. So this is what I'm looking for, RV. If RC is 12, look what they did. If RC is 12, RC is the whole thing. So when they give me the whole thing, I need to divide by 3. So if the whole thing is 12 divided by 3, that means, yeah, the little piece is 4, which means that RV, the part that I'm looking for, is how much? 8. Yes, that's the ticket. So 8 is the answer to this one. All right, and that's how the medians get tricky. What's next? Oh yeah, then you just have to identify each of these. So let me just recap real quick where they all go. First one we learned was median. That goes vertex to midpoint. Next one we learned was altitude. And that goes from a vertex perpendicularly down. I shouldn't say down because it's not always up and down. I should say perpendicular to opposite side. Okay, that's an altitude. Then we have the perpendicular bisector, which is literally perpendicular and bisects the side. And then the last one was angle bisector. And that one just bisects an angle. If you want to take a screenshot of this page, you should. It's all in your notes, but if you want one convenient one-stop shop, there it is. So when I look at these definitions, what I need each of these things to be, and I'm looking at this particular picture, I hope you're gonna agree with me that it's none of them. Why is it none? Yeah, it's perpendicular, but in order for it to be an altitude, it would have had to have started at a vertex. That's an altitude, what I just drew, not what they have, so that's a no. In order to be a perpendicular bisector, I'd have to know that these two sides were congruent. And I don't know that, so I gotta go with, yeah, it's none. None of these. So this, oh, look, see how it changed? So there it was, and then look what happened here. Now they do have those marks. So now I do have a perpendicular bisector. That thing is now an altitude, starts at a vertex, drops perpendicular to the other side. This is nothing. This is absolutely nothing. I don't care about those two random sides being congruent. Who cares? This is super nothing. There's even less markings. There's a median from a vertex to a midpoint. Okay, and that's it. And now I start asking you the angle bisector questions. So I'll do one easy one and one hard one. Does everybody have what they, did you get a shot of this if you wanted it? I guess I should take a shot of it too. All right. And then the angle bisector stuff. So with an angle bisector, so first of all, it tells you that you have one. So what you're looking for, anytime you have an angle bisector, that just means these two little angles, 1 and 2, are just equal to each other. That's all. So if 1 is 32, that means 2 would also be 32. But they didn't ask me for angle 2. They wanted angle FDE. So that would be 32 and 32 together, obviously 64. Okay, so just pay attention to what they give you. And that should help. I'll do one of the harder ones. Yeah, here's the hard one. Some of these ones with algebra were a little bit trickier. So they tell me that angle 2 is 4x minus 2. And then they told me that the whole big angle, GEF, this whole big angle is 6x plus 4. Does anybody remember what you do to solve the ones like this? I'll give you a hint. You are absolutely not going to set these equal to each other. You,
Twice.
yes. Angles 1 and 2 really are equal to each other. So if 2 is 4x minus 2, that means 1 is 4x minus 2. And what is true is that angles 1 and 2 together add up to be the big angle. That's what your equation has to reflect. So 4x minus 2 and another 4x minus 2 together add up to be the whole big thing, 6x plus 4. Now you have an equation, you just got to solve it. That's 8x, and minus 2 and minus 2 is minus 4. 6x plus 4, minus 6x, minus 6x. Add the 4, add the 4. I'm getting 2x equals 8, which means that x is just 4. Make sure you answer the question that they asked. They just wanted me to find x, and I did. So 4 would be my answer. Okay, those are the hard angle bisector ones. And then, oh, that's weird. These weren't supposed to be in there because those we did those last chapter. So we'll actually skip over those. And then it's just the Pythagorean theorem stuff. So let's do this one real quick. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Who's C?
Oh, sorry, 13.
Yes, always the one, if you have a right angle, it's always the one across from it. So I'll put you in for A, you in for B. X squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. Now you just got to do the math. 25, 13 squared is 169. I'm going to subtract the 25. And I get x squared equals 144. And now the only thing that you have left to do is square root both sides. I get 12. Oh, I should have asked you before we started, what do I know about this answer before you even do anything? So pretend I didn't know the answer. What must this number be? Smaller than 13. Because this has to be my biggest side. So let's see. Oh, look, you could have crossed off both of those. So already you have a 50-50 shot. So that's pretty good. So even if you don't remember anything else, you can at least do that part and help yourself out quite a bit. All right. And then the other thing we did with Pythagorean, oh, look at this one. Don't you know the answer already? It's gotta be 5, the 3, 4, 5. Those are gonna show up all over the place. Oh, so even look, here it is again. Now the question is different. Instead of each triangle is a right triangle, this one has to be. That's our favorite, 3, 4, 5. So let me do one that we don't know, maybe. This one I know though too. Isn't it a 3, 4, 5? Everything's just doubled. See what I mean? If you know them, it saves you so much time. So this one, I don't know. Maybe it is a right triangle, maybe it's not. So to check it, we still do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we're just seeing if it's true or not true. Who has to go in for c? 14. So I'll do 12 squared plus 5 squared. And I'm going to check if that's equal to 14 squared. I really don't know. 144, 25. Is that equal to 196? I don't know. No. It's like at what, 169, which is not equal to 196. So is this a right triangle? No. My two sides did not match. Okay, so that's how you do those. And then the only thing that was left was finding the distance between 2 points. Okay, so real quick, I'll just do this one out. Remember, you have the formula. If you don't have the formula, make sure that you write it down somewhere. So you have it. This is always an X and a Y. This is always an X and a Y. That's my first point. That's my second point. So now you just plug in all the pieces. I'm gonna switch to blue because red's too much for me. Let's see, x2, -1, and then you immediately write a minus sign. x1 is just 1. Close it, square it. y2, -8, you immediately write a minus sign. y1, oh, it's just a 5. Okay, cool. Close it, square it. Now you just have to evaluate correctly. -1 minus 1, be careful, that is -2. -8 minus 5, again, both negative, so it's going to stay negative. That's a -13. Now you're on the magic step. Once you square this, everything should be positive. I get a +4, and 13 squared is 169. I'm going to add those two together. And now I'm looking at the square root of 173. And I have no idea what that is, but my calculator sure does. So 173 square root is 13.2 that would round to. Hooray! And that's it. That's the whole test. Does anybody have any questions? Not a 1? Oh my gosh. All right, so let me stop this recording.